Hey guys, iPhone Simon back here, and today I'm going to teach you how to make matcha. My other how-to video, the one on meditation, did pretty well. I got like 1,500 impressions. Holy, that's a lot. And being a world-renowned expert in both meditation and matcha making, I'm sure this matcha video will also get about 10 views. So let's do it. All right, so this is basically everything you're going to need. Ice cubes, obviously, to make your matcha latte. You're also going to need matcha for your matcha latte. The type of matcha matters. I'm not really an expert on what matcha is good and what matcha is, not great. One thing to keep in mind with the matcha is you got to refrigerate it. I had a couple other matcha in the past that I didn't refrigerate, and what happened was I was having it and I'm like, why is this like a weird color? Why does it taste kind of bland and watery? And it's probably because it wasn't refrigerated. So once you open the bag, refrigerate it. This one was like, I think 10, 15 bucks on Amazon. You wanna have your milk of choice. I like oat milk. The taste, I think it's very creamy. It's very similar to normal milk, but no dairy. Almond milk I used to use, but the taste just doesn't match up the same. So for me, oat milk is the way to go, full fat for me anyway. You can do whatever you want. You're also gonna need water. This is just to mix the matcha and get your matcha, I guess, in liquid form. Sifter. This particular matcha is very fine, but what happens with some matcha is you'll put it in your cup and you won't sift it, and you'll get like a bunch of leftover residue matcha on the bottom of your cup. Before you do that, you can put it in the sifter. Again, this one doesn't actually need it from my experience, but I will demonstrate how to use the sifter for matcha anyway. Yes, and of course you will need these 2 cups. I do it this way. 1 cup to mix the matcha in. Then the other cup is where I actually put the whole drink in. So I put in the ice, the matcha, and then the oat milk. And lastly, one of these matcha whiskers. This is very underestimated as a tool. I used to use one of those like frothers, but this thing for matcha is huge. Helps dissolve all the matcha powder really well. This is also kind of the tool they use in official matcha making ceremony. I got this one as a gift, so I don't know how much it costs, but probably like 5-10 bucks. You can get any type. This one's kind of junky, it's falling apart, but yeah, it shouldn't be too hard to get. Did I mention ice? I think I did. All right, so step 1, we're gonna make the actual matcha. I'm gonna use this little small cup, and for the demonstration, I'm gonna be using this sifter. So I'm gonna put the sifter over there, and you wanna grab whatever serving you want of matcha. For me, they recommend here on the back, half a teaspoon. I usually do 2 halves of teaspoon, which is 1 teaspoon, and to me, that gives me like the best consistency that I want, but honestly, play around with it. Start with 1. I'd say anywhere between 1 to 4 should be fine. The caffeine amount, they say it's somewhere here, 1624 milligrams. So you see right there, it's 1/4 of a cup of coffee. So you can put up to 4 here and it'd be like coffee, no big deal. I'm gonna do that right now. It's hard to do it with 1 hand, so. All right, now that you have it in the sifter, this is gonna be hard to show with 1 hand as well, but basically you take a spoon or some sort of tool and you kind of just tap it in there, you sift it through. As you can see, it starts to go through, it gets more refined. Easiest to do it with 2 hands. Some people use like a matcha thing where they grab the matcha with like this, I don't know, it's a matcha tool and they do it with this, but basically you want to sift it through until it all goes through. Once that's done, it's going to be very fine right there, so it's going to dissolve really well. And again, not all matcha will need this. You'll have to try and see depending on the matcha that you get. All right, next step is actually to make the matcha liquid form. So you grab water. You probably could use the milk for this as well, but I've never tried that. And water is cheaper and it tastes fine. So yeah, a little bit. Look, I don't do like any specific serving sizes with this stuff. I kind of just eye it out, but you don't really need as much as you think. Like for me, I do as little as possible to dissolve the matcha so that it doesn't get diluted like watery flavor. If you're running like a coffee shop or something, you might need to measure things out, but if you're doing this at home, just test things out. And then you're gonna grab your matcha whisk, and again, this is better with 2 hands, so I'm gonna do this a little bit and then cut the video, but basically you vigorous, it'd be easier to show it like this. All right, I don't know if you can see, I hope you can, but yeah, basically you really wanna whisk it in, circles vigorously, like WM shape, zigzag circles, and maybe for like 30 seconds or so, 15 to 30 seconds, and you'll see, once it's pretty good, you'll see that it's very bubbly on the surface. That means you're probably good. The point is to dissolve the matcha. All right, you have your dissolved matcha here. Next step is to prepare the main glass. So get whatever glass you like the most, whatever is most appealing for you. It definitely changes the taste of the drink for sure. That's how science works. This is the best one that I have here, so this is the one I'm gonna use. And same deal with like the measuring how much, water to use with the matcha and how much matcha to use. You gotta figure out how much ice you wanna use. For me, with this glass and everything else that I've done, I kind of optimized it with 4 blocks of ice. So yeah, do that. Once you have your ice in there, however much you like, you can put the oat milk in first, but for me, I think it's just easier to put in the matcha first. So I pour in the matcha, and then what I do is I don't measure the oat milk. What I do personally is there's a difference. You see the matcha on the top, on the bottom, and then I just pour in oat milk until it pretty much fills. I don't measure the oat milk, like I don't measure much of anything else. This works for me, and this is basically it. You can mix it with a straw if you use a straw. I don't use a straw, so I just kind of keep it like this. And yeah, it tastes very good. Taste test. That's really good matcha flavored oat milk. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I know it's a very complicated process to make the best matcha latte out there. Matcha ice latte, I should say. But trust me, try it a few times at home by yourself. It's not a big deal. This costs like probably $1 or $2 compared to going to a coffee shop, which will be like $6 or $7 in some places. So just give it a shot, pretty easy. And yeah, thanks for watching.